everybody. What if I were to tell you there's a real high-end maximum security prison in Australia that believes in the dormitory system versus the cell system? What if I also told you that the Hunter Correctional Facility in Australia is housing many of the country's sex offenders, and that this dormitory system is actually rehabilitating sex offenders at a 70% success rate, meaning 70% of the prisoners that are sex offenders that actually complete the Hunter Correctional Facility program are not returning. Maybe Australia knows something we don't. Let's take a closer look together.
The Cessnock Jail in Newcastle has unveiled new rapid-build prison pods, which are intended to house up to 400 new prisoners by February. Ben Millington has more.
This is the inside of the government's new rapid-build prison system, and the reason it's built so quickly is because instead of cells, there's these little pods where inmates will have access to TV, they have a bed there, but there's 25 of these located in every one of these little wings, and there's 16 of these wings in total for a total of 400 prisoners. Now, this prison is being opened today. There should be inmates in here by February, and all of this is to deal with a huge increase in prison numbers in New South Wales that have climbed by 33% since 2014. Figures released today show that that number has slightly decreased, but there's a lot of prisoners that need to be housed. The prisoners will be watched by guards for 24 hours a day from these observation towers, and also be under 24-hour surveillance by infrared cameras. The prison took just 1 year to build, which is shaving about 2 years off the normal build time. Now, critics of this style of detention say that it's opening inmates up to bullying and a lack of privacy, which will inhibit their rehabilitation chances. But the government says the exact opposite, that inmates in here will be living in a modern prison with modern technology and have greater access to education and training, which will decrease recidivism.
There are many high-end luxuries in this prison, ones that you will not find in other prisons, and in fact some people may think is inappropriate. When the facility is full, 750 plus inmates reside. That's a lot of people to be tracking, and not everybody has these maximum luxuries. It's only one unit specifically thus far that has these luxuries, which is the sexual offense unit. I don't know how they chose to pick that unit to upgrade and incorporate into this luxurious dorm-like prison, but I also am not in the industry, so I'm not sure what the thought was behind that either. I'm not sure. I personally feel that sexual offenders deserve luxuries. What's your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. Okay, still in the wheelchair. As many of you know, I've had surgery my 28th, and it's a slow recovery. I had my kneecap broken, so let's not focus on that. Let's get back to what we're talking about. So the Hunter Correctional Center is a maximum security facility for men felons only. No women, only men. It's located in the Cessnock Correctional Complex in New South Wales, Australia. I was thinking England because it sounds like so Englandish, but no, it's definitely Australia. It's updated in 2012 with the addition of the Australia's first purpose-built for sex offenders unit. It's a big deal over there because, like I said in the intro, they have a 70% success rate. I don't know any prison in the United States that has a 70% success non-return rate. If you do, please leave it in the comments below because I'd like to look into that. So the $97 million upgrade, that's right, $97 million to build this facility, to extend it, because there was already a facility there. They just built an addition that was specializing in sexual offenders. The prison has completed the upgrades in 54 weeks. They did this. 500,000 hours of labor to complete this unit. Outstanding. If you think about 500,000 hours of man labor to complete this, this was a huge, huge project. This was a big, big deal. And it could have gone really wrong. It's not just all about the prisoners, but also about the community, which, yes, you would expect that anyway when you're building a prison somewhere. But to know that some of the worst sexual offenders in Australia are housed in this community, I don't know how I would feel if I lived in the town. I would be real uneasy. So I'm really glad to know that, one, that there's such a high success rate, and two, that so much money was put into the thought of all the little nuances of how to make this a successful venture. The prison has housed notable inmates such as an Olympic sprint canoer, dealing ecstasy. Also, Lenny McPherson, which is an organized crime character. If you're familiar with the Australian Mafia, you might know that name. It doesn't mean anything to me, but I believe that he was there. But I'm not sure if they're saying that those two people were sex offenders. So now I'm kind of confused. Are they saying that the Olympic sprint canoer and Lenny McPherson were sexual offenders? Leave it in the comments. Maybe you know. Maybe you're from Australia and you're like, I know the answer. Cessnock is a large industrial complex housing and employing inmates. So it's not just a prison. They're also giving these inmates occupational rehabilitation, which is outstanding. So rather than like many modern day jails over here in the States where you just sit, you do a little job, you get sent out and you're on your own, this prison in Australia, the Hunter Correctional Facility, is actually making sure that when their prisoners leave, they have skills to be able to rehabilitate themselves into the community. I think that's a great thing. However, I have certain feelings about sex offenders. So I'm not sure if I would personally want to employ one of these inmates that has been released. At the same time, I'm pretty sure there's discrimination laws on that. I don't know though. I'm not going to be hiring anybody for my channel. I don't have any plans on doing that. I do everything by myself. Light fabrication, there's engineering, there's furniture, timber furniture manufacturing, there's a food service facility where they make all the food for the prisoners and the whole entire complex on site. And when the people who work in the kitchen get released, they're then capable and have the skills they need for today to get a job and get a successful income coming in, because they're not just thrown back on the streets. They're thrown back on the streets with skills that pay. And that's extremely motivating and inspirational. Even though there are many claims to many prisons in the United States that they do that, the success rate backs up their claims. If you are having so many people come back into the prisons, you're not running a successful program. If you're having so many people not able to find jobs when they leave prison, and I know that's a touchy situation, do we think about what's best for the inmates, or do we think about what's best for the common dollar? I think there has to be a fine mix of both. My own opinion. I do not run a prison. Wouldn't want to. There's also landscaping and laundry over there that they have as occupational interests. So the facility is basically completely capable of functioning by itself for itself. Now, the reason why I started even looking into this whole entire prison was because I saw a couple videos online when I were looking up United States prisons with a high success rate for non-return. That's how I kind of got all on this. A 70% non-return rate. I know that with this new unit being completed, there is an additional 400 beds made available. There's also 600 plus closed circuit television cameras at all times videotaping the premises for the safety of everybody, because in a minute we're going to take a look and you're going to see how different of a jail it is. And you're probably going to ask yourself several questions. Let me know what they are in the comments below. We can discuss together. There's also, my other finger didn't want to come up. There's also 3 perimeter fences as well as infrared nocturnal cameras. So there's no funny business going on here day or night. The place is well protected. It's maximum security. It's pretty tough, I would assume, to pull off an escape. And if I ever hear of somebody escaping from the Hunter Correctional Facility in Australia, I'll be following that story. It is acclaimed as one of the safest facilities in its type for employees and inmates. That's pretty revelational, that the employees equally feel as safe as the inmates are kept from society. So I imagine the towns over there are feeling pretty good, pretty safe, and the people who are working at the jail, it seems like, might be faced with less safety concerns and issues than a competing jail. Does that make sense? The jail also has a 24/7, 365 critical response team, meaning that if there's ever any type of outbreak of violence, or there's any type of escape or any type of trauma that is experienced by the inmates, there are teams specifically on standby to assist with any type of trauma or traumatic experiences that the inmates or employees may experience while they're on the property. I think that's something that I'm not sure other jails actually invest in, but I think they should. I think that there's a little bit of peace of mind there, knowing that there is a 24/7, 365 critical response team available. Not everybody gets a bed at this facility. It's a dorm-like setting, and the screening process is extremely stringent, hoping to rehabilitate good corporate cooperative citizens. And that's really important, because you take people who don't want this opportunity and you waste it for those who do.
Hold up.